to kind of take you guys through what it looks like to become an herbalist, the healing journey that a lot of us go through as all sorts of different holistic practitioners, and how eventually coming out the other side of being a regular practitioner isn't necessarily a straight line. That burnout is real. And I have burned out in my life over and over again, kept hitting this wall. So the more that I started working with clients, the more I realized this really important thing that if I want to help other people, I have to pour more into me all of the time. So this foundation of self-care first isn't selfish. You realize one of two things. One, either this ain't for me, or two, how the heck do I do this all the time? Be growing your resilience so that you have healthy boundaries, that you are a healed practitioner and you are effective in your healing work, able to take care of your community more because you've learned how to fill up your own cup first. Welcome to the Healed Healers podcast, where we dive deep into the art of self-care, learning to fill up our own cup first so we can continue to heal others. I'm Emily Watson, Director of Artemisia Academy, a clinical herbalist, holistic entrepreneur, and your guide on this journey of self-care, herbal wisdom, and personal growth. Hey folks, welcome to the Healed Healers podcast. My name is Emily Watson, Director of Artemisia Academy, and today we're going to be diving into how to deal with burnout, something that is real for not just everyday people, but also especially for herbalists and holistic practitioners. I know that when I first started my healing journey, I thought that once you became enlightened in how to be healthy and everything, you would just do it all the time. But the truth is that I was living in imposter syndrome. I thought I always had to show up being perfect to the entire outside world. And behind the scenes, I was falling apart, binging on cookie dough and Netflix all the time and living off of coffee because I didn't have any energy reserves to speak of. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about how to do the deep work to really figure out the core practices to go from being a wounded healer, someone that's burnt out and unbalanced and without any boundaries whatsoever, to becoming a healed healer, someone that has, the authority to stand from because they've walked the talk and they're actually doing that deep work of healing all the time themselves. So by the end of this episode, we're going to be really diving into self-care practices, the daily core practices that any sort of herbalist or practitioner should have to keep themselves going, and how to prevent yourself from burning out long-term by doing these fabulous core practices and fun herbs in between. And then by the end of this, we'll also make sure that you know how to be growing your resilience so that you have healthy boundaries, that you are a healed practitioner and you are effective in your healing work, able to take care of your community more because you've learned how to fill up your own cup first. So stay tuned. So becoming an herbalist is something that wasn't the journey I expected to be. I really thought that being an herbalist would be I'd help people with herbs, I'd make tinctures and teas, I'd make salves, I would maybe farm a bit more than I do. And I didn't realize that I'd go on this kind of crazy roller coaster of my own healing work too. I thought that by healing people, I'd be helping others and focusing on everything outside of myself. And I didn't realize that I had to be focusing more inward on taking care of me so that I could be teaching from experience rather than just conceptual learning. So I want to kind of take you guys through what it looks like to become an herbalist, the healing journey that a lot of us go through as all sorts of different holistic practitioners, and how eventually coming out the other side of being a regular practitioner isn't necessarily a straight line, as well as and unless you develop certain practices along the way, you will end up in this roadblock of burnout and maybe even career change because you didn't know what this really meant long term. Sorry, you guys, I'm losing it here. It's hot today. I'm dealing with the heat. Anyways, so becoming a healer is typically you wake up with this aha one day of oh my gosh, there's this modality that works. For me, it was oh my gosh, herbs work. There are these things called herbs out there, and I can help other people with it because it healed me. I can heal others too. And all of a sudden, you have your life's passion or path kind of laid out before you. For me, I call that the awakening. I didn't grow up learning about herbs. I thought shopping malls and earrings were the coolest things in the world. I still like earrings, you guys, but I didn't like nature. I didn't grow up camping a ton. I thought that food came from grocery stores rather than farms. And I just had this huge disconnect. And eventually, along the way, I had a really fun, adventurous boyfriend that took me backpacking to the middle of nowhere. And I got deathly ill in the middle of the woods. Couldn't hike out of there, couldn't get to a hospital at all. And luckily, there was a group of herbalists nearby that saved my life. And with just a few simple cups of what I now know is mint tea, I was able to regain my energy, keep food down again, and get the heck out of there to safety and civilization. And from that moment on, I knew, oh my gosh, herbs are everywhere and they do all this. Like, how does everyone not know? So from there, I knew that I wanted to be an herbalist. And so I sought out to eventually become a practitioner and went down the rabbit hole of getting lots of books. I still have way too many of them, going to find teachers, going to conferences. And eventually I found an herb school that would carry me along my merry way to become a holistic practitioner. Along the way, I also became a massage therapist. That was a really fun part of my life. I like going to school to get my body rubbed rather than study. I did a lot of studying too, guys. But with that kind of next section of becoming a healer is that skill craft of like really developing your practice, developing the tools that you need to help other people. And then once you've mastered it somehow or graduated from a school, typically that next step is doing it. And so you're opening your practice, you're opening your business, you're finding people to mentor under, whatever it is, and you start working with people on a regular basis. And in that moment, you realize one of two things. One, either this ain't for me, or two, how the heck do I do this all the time? It's awesome and it's exhausting. And I went from, helping people, like seeing clients, massaging people, finally getting to the peak of what I thought was my career. And then this unexpected thing happened called my back went out. I was in so much pain. I couldn't move for like about a month and was out of work and had this big like revolution of like, oh, healers are supposed to like heal themselves and not just other people. And it turns out I was giving so much that I was giving from deficiency instead of from this overflow or excess to help others because I had the reserve. And so I developed this concept that, healers should be healed healers, not wounded healers, but healed healers, taking care of themselves, practicing what they preach, really doing that deep inner work so that they could be giving from overflow rather than deficiency. So this is where I started that concept and started the school, Artemisia Academy, of where I wanted to teach, healers how to become healed healers, but also herbalists how to become sustainable, healthy practitioners so that they could better help their communities. Along this way, I want to say that I was healed and that was it. I was enlightened. But that's not the case, you guys. Like, I'm real. I had to go through this revolution over and over again. And even though it was the mission of my school, it was the drive behind everything I taught people, this thing called COVID happened. And I went from an in-person school to an online school to a self-paced school to like, so many transitions had to happen to keep the bills paid that I ended up working 60-hour weeks again and burning out. And so I come to a year or two after this again, coming to this realization yet again, that these core principles can't be something that you do like sometimes. We always talk about like, yeah, I want to do this daily practice. And the reality is a lot of us come up with these daily practices that are so complex and insane that we do them for like 2 weeks and then forget about them. And truthfully, to be a sustainable practitioner, you have to have sustainable practices too. So for me, it kind of came down to like doing these 3 keystone habits. And, how did I figure them out? Through a lot of experimentation, through a lot of failure. Your nervous system actually learns through failure. So if you try different things and they don't work, keep trying, because it's going to be an ongoing process to figure out the magic sauce that works for you. For me, it had to be something physical, something mental or emotional, and something spiritual every single day. And so that's the core of what I do every morning before I talk to anyone, before I talk to my hubby, which he doesn't always love, but like it's what I do every single day. And so, this is developing a core of boundaries that your needs are important, that you are important, as well as a, daily filling up of your cup so that you can be coming from that excess or overflow instead of deficiency. And so, the more that I started working with clients, the more I realized this really important thing that if I want to help other people, I have to pour more into me all of the time. If I want to see 20 clients a week, that means I got to pour 20 hours into me first. And that's hard to do when you're trying to hustle and pay the bills. I totally know. But anytime that I stopped doing that work, I would eventually fall, or my business would backstep, or I'd stop making money. My clients stopped showing up. My students stopped showing. I stopped showing up. All right. So this foundation of self-care first isn't selfish. It's about learning to build those core necessities so that you don't just have the energy, but you also have the vibe that people want what you got. And if you don't do it, you don't got it. That's just it. So if you feel like you lost your mojo someplace along the way of building your practice, it's probably because you did, because your mojo was taking care of you, was learning how to do it and then giving that experience to others. And so for me, it's really a daily practice, and what those daily practices, you're gonna play with a lot of different things. But for me, my secret ingredients are, for me, I journal every day, I go on a walk every day, and I listen to something inspirational, or I talk with people that inspire me every day. It's those three. All right. Do I also meditate? Yeah, I throw that in there. Okay. Do I do yoga versus walk sometimes? Of course. Like, I mix it up, but I always do like mental, physical, spiritual, something every day. Got to touch on those every day. Even if the physical is, sorry, before my period, I don't feel like moving. I don't feel like going out. And when it's really hot and sunny, I'll like lay on the bed and do deep breathing and like wiggle my toes back and forth, like whatever it is. It's just enough so that you are touching back in on yourself and making sure that you're filling up your own cup. The other side, besides those three keystone habits, is doing the deep inner work of, we're so good at looking at our clients and looking at other people out there, but we forget that we got to look in at us and see, where are we missing? Where are we messing up? Where do we have holes in our self-care? And so sometimes that means, holes in our boundaries. Like, I have a hard time saying no, and I keep saying yes to these people that I don't love. Eventually that's going to come back on you in your practice, or you don't have good boundaries with money, even with yourself. Like, for me, I'd like overspend on little knickknacks and fun, cute herb books and stuff, and then not like undercharge with my clients, and wonder why I have to work 2 to 3 jobs just to get by. Like, that doesn't work anymore. If you're not respecting your schedule and you're scheduling clients and times that doesn't work for you, or you're telling people to go take vacations and you don't ever take vacations. If you don't ever unplug fully, how can you rest and recover? So for me as a practitioner, I have to take at least 1 week off a quarter, which might sound insane to some people, but like, I take 4 to 6 weeks off a year, because if I don't, I get sick. And I've tried that so many different times to realize that time off is part of my healthy practice to rest, recover, rejuvenate, to tap into that deeper spiritual well, being in nature, being with the divine, or whatever it is you want to call, it's also like building good relationships. If you feel like you keep getting in unhealthy relationships, you got to look at that. You got to do the deep work, go to some counseling, go to support groups, like figure out where you're not lining up with people and work through it. And so all of these different corners, your financial health, your boundaries, your relationship, your money, like your family time, all of these have to make it this beautiful, platform that you stand on. And if you're not building a strong enough foundation, of course you can't support other people, because you're not supporting yourself. So with love and kindness, I'm coming at you guys from my years of experience of burning out and coming back. Herbs are one piece of the puzzle, but the truth is this bigger foundation that you have to work on underneath. So in terms of herbs for burnout, I always have to put this in here because yes, they've been a huge part of my journey, and they weren't like what fixed it, but they were a piece. They were definitely an ally to help me through. And so herbs are really great because by learning herbal medicine, you're tasting one herb at a time. You're not only learning to tap in and taste an herb, but you're learning to tap into yourself. And that practice of deep listening gets you accustomed to check in with yourself more and more so that you see what's going on in here. So for me, some of my favorite herbal allies for burnout is oat straw. Oat straw is great for like the long-term deep nourishment, recovering your nervous system. Like oat straw and skullcap are my two like best buds for rejuvenating from a long-term, overly stressed, overly burnt out picture. And then when you've been burnt out for a long time, a lot of times we need these things called adaptogens. And adaptogens are herbs that help you adapt, but also recover. And so some of the recovering adaptogens that I really like is eleuthero. Eleuthero is also known as Siberian ginseng. It's an herb that's great for giving your adrenals their umph back when you might have been flatlined for a while. Ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is is an Ayurvedic herb that's great as well for like giving yourself some umph back, great for recovery, great for recovering from colds and flus. I also really love licorice for those that like it. I'm not a sweet person. Some people are, but a little bit of licorice, it doubles the half-life of your cortisol, so your body doesn't have to make as much. So it's a really great one, especially for that little sweet, tiny little pinch in a formula to round things out. It's a really nourishing way to do it. And then I can't talk about recovery enough without things that are more energetic based, like rose. So like rose flowers are really great for that spiritual heart and holding space for yourself. Even yarrow. Yarrow is another great boundary herb, great for holding that space in that container for yourself, especially as a wounded or hopefully healing healer. So if you guys want to learn more about fabulous herbs, self-care tips, tools, and behind the scenes of being an entrepreneur, then please subscribe or like our channel. We definitely love to share this and love to share this knowledge and pass it on to other practitioners and soon to be herbalists and holistic healers. But also, we are here to pass this on with you guys so that you can fill up your own cup and learn how to make a bigger impact in your community too. So coming up next, we've got herbs for sleep, because I know we all need to relax and have more sleep in our lives. So we'll be showing that up coming next. But otherwise, you guys, thanks for joining us, and really looking forward to helping you guys fill up your own cup too. Good luck on your journey, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys. So if you guys want to figure out how to really fill up your own cup today, your homework for today is to write down 3 keystone habits that you can commit to daily, something mental, physical, spiritual. Treat them like appointments. Figure out where in your day you can get them done. For me, it has to be first thing in the morning because I get too busy and I forget. But you might find that like coming home from work, this is your happy hour. Whatever it is for you, just figure out the timing for you and put it in your schedule and really treat it like, an appointment with a client or a friend. Like this is a time for you to heal and to make sure you're doing that work all the time. Also, you guys, just remember, in order to heal others, you gotta heal yourself first. So stay well, keep growing your capacity, and remember to like and share if you like this episode, because we want to help other community members, help other people fill up their own cup too. Take care, guys.